Okay, so first impressions.
Yeah. The big thing that I got wrong, and I see almost everybody get wrong, and it's bad common advice about first impressions, is that just the best way to get people interested in you is to be interested in them. And what I found is that that is generally true, but it ignores the realities of status, which is, I'm sure you experience this, but a lot of people come up to you, they're very interested in you, but that doesn't mean that they're gonna make a good first impression on you. It means that you might have compassion for them. It might even mean that you might feel love for them, but it does not mean that you're gonna wanna follow up and spend time with them. Probably you've experienced, I don't wanna follow up with this person and spend time with them, even though I see their sincerity of their interest.
No comment.
and I've been on both sides of this, right? I've been the person who is just so interested in you. There's a few things that if you just do this before expressing your interest in somebody, changes the whole game. So fun, trust, respect. If you, and this can take 60 seconds or less, can communicate that you are fun, that the person can trust you, and that there is something to respect about you, and then you express your interest in that person, it will completely flip the dynamic on its head. So we can break it down.
Please.
Fun. There's a ton of ways to handle this, right? You can crack jokes, you can do all sorts of things, but the easiest way to add fun to an interaction is you take the first question that almost everybody asks you, which is, how are you, right? These are the gimmies that we just say, fine, good, how are you? Oh, there's a fire, whatever. And be more enthusiastic than fine. I would always say be better than good. So if somebody comes up to you and they say, how are you doing? You can be fantastic or wonderful or great or ecstatic or electric. And there's a whole separate conversation about how to make this real inside of yourself, because I'm not asking you to paper over anything. I think that was a mistake that I made early in my charisma career of just too much fake it till you make it. But if you can genuinely cultivate those feelings and share them, that level of enthusiasm is fun. Crack a joke, you got fun.
Okay.
Trust. This is a lot of nonverbal stuff, eye contact, body language, the way that you shake someone's hand. But it also comes down to if the person feels like you are trying to get something from them. And there's a number of things that tip us off to this, but one of these is when you over-qualify yourself, which is in direct competition with this need to establish yourself, right? So there's these, we want to establish that we're interesting people, we have things going on that you might want to connect with, but if we drift over into name dropping and selling, we're gonna alienate the trust. So the place that I focus most on with people is, in most places that I've been, how are you, where are you from, what do you do, are like three of the most basic questions. Go to a college campus, it's what's your major? We all have these, and you can think of them now if you're in the audience. We have these things that we hear all the time, and we probably have habitual answers to them.
Yes.
And these habitual answers are usually not great.
Yes, mine is so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just remembered mine actually. People come up to me and they say, God, you've been so busy. And then I'll say something like, yeah, always. And then the conversation's over.
Yeah. They've got nothing to hook into or hook onto there. So you're able to get away with that. And one of the things that people do is they build a tremendous amount of competence and power. And then all of a sudden you can drop this to a degree because people are still interested because they know you from Dragon's Den or some other things.
Yeah.
But if you're out there and you don't have that yet, like I didn't when I was 19 and 20, or you just want to have more engaging conversations and you want to bring in people that you genuinely connect with, reverse engineer the conversation that you would like to have. So you could, I have 6 charismatic mindsets that I think about. One of them is go there first in humanizing the interaction. And so this can mean if you're in a group of people that are all really stiff and nervous because they don't know if it's okay, crack the first joke, be vulnerable first, give the first compliment, like lead the interaction in the way you want to go because that's what everybody wants. Like we don't want to be suits. We don't want to be roles in a company. We want to be humans. And that stuff is, everybody wants that. And whoever goes first becomes the leader.
Okay.
So in your interactions, you're getting asked, are you busy? So if you could go there first and do the thing that you're wanting them to do and work that into the answer of how you're busy or are you busy, that is going to lead the conversation in the direction you want. So as a for instance, I don't know if this is, are you busy? I have been, but one of the things that I've really been struggling with that I haven't figured out yet at this point is, I'm having some relationship issues, or I'm having this or that and the other thing, but like sharing the real thing a level down beneath the surface level stuff that you're tempted to share with people is going there first and making it okay for them to do it. And then you say, what about you? Versus they say, hey, how's it going? You're so busy. You're saying, oh yeah, man, been busy. How about you? They're just going to match you, especially given your power as the leader of the company. They will just match what you do. But if you go there first, you give people permission to go deeper. So a lot of people, for instance, what they might want is the thing that they care about is they care about their job. They love what they do and they're really interested. Or maybe they hate their job and they care more about their free time and their hobbies and the extreme sports that they do. So in these questions of how have you been, what do you do, where are you from, I have a worksheet in our course that helps people walk through what a good answer could be that would leave hooks for the person that is an extreme sports enthusiast or does, have an interest in that particular niche that they're interested in to hook into. But if you were to ask me where I'm from, and let's say that I want to connect with you in a number of different ways, but the thing that I really want you to know is that I have an interesting business. I could say I'm from Philadelphia. And we're done. Oh, cool. I've been to Philadelphia. Or no, my friend's brother went there. Is it cold in Philadelphia?
Yeah.
This is where we're going to go. Now we're on weather and sports, which is where most conversations go. But if I say, I grew up in Philadelphia, but I never really fit in there. Like a lot of the people in that area wind up spending their whole lives within 20 minutes of where they were born. And so I traveled throughout my 20s and lived a bunch of places, but I now live in LA just because it's the right place for my business. And I end there. The next question that is coming from you is probably, oh, what's your business? Or where did you travel? So if I give you a number of different options to hook into here, you're going to take the one that you're most interested in. Mm-hmm. And so what I would try to do in these answers with myself and what I advise people to do is to take the 3 topics that you'd love to talk about. Like you'd love to talk about your travels, you'd love to talk about your business, and you'd love to talk about philosophy or whatever it is. And find a way to just leave little crumbs in these common answers that give the right person the invitation to talk to you about that thing. Mm-hmm. And this is something that I found really small talk can suck. It's very draining to sit here and how much more can I say about the weather or local sports team? I can't keep doing it.
Yeah.
But when you do these sorts of things, it opens up the opportunity for connection so much more quickly in interaction. And
I hate small talk.
Yeah.
I really hate it. I find it really draining. I find it so fake. And I kind of want to get on to the real stuff. So you're saying that's how to do it, to leave sort of crumbs in my response that will send us down a more interesting pathway in conversation.
To really think through how do I and what do I want to connect with people over, right? It's not the weather and it's not the local sports team. It is, in my case, I want to interact with people that are interested in the same sort of YouTube space that I'm interested in. That's one of the things. Beforehand, I thought that I knew about people. I was I could tell who that guy is. I know what kind of life he has. But when you start leaving these clues, people surprise you. The types of connections that come from people that you wouldn't expect are, I don't know another word other than magical. It's very special to see that the world is full of opportunities where once you saw it as, I already know what's coming from this person. It's just going to be a boring small talk conversation. And to find that person could be someone that you do business with or become very close to or winds up being the brother of someone that you date is very exciting to me.
There's a real mindset shift in that, seeing the world differently as a set of opportunities versus this sort of fixed thing that you just have to navigate.
Yes. And also there's a playfulness that can be brought to it as well. So one of the other things that I talk about is flirting with the world, right? So what I mean by this is that when you go out and you're flirting, you tend not to be literal in your answers, right? There's a playfulness that is engaged. You're going to joke with that person. And what a lot of people do, and I'm guilty of this all the time, is when you're checking out at the store, you're doing anything, you are very literal in your answers. Can I help you with anything today? Can I get one other thing? What floor are you on as you get in the elevator? And if instead of I'm on floor 3, you say, oh, I don't live here, I'm just casing the joint for robbery. It's just like that little stuff that is playful, that is what people are dying for. So many people are on autopilot. And when you bring that playfulness, that little flirtatious energy to men, women alike, things open up in a very fun and exciting way.
Does that come from confidence? Because I've noticed that I'd certainly flirt with the world more now that I feel like I have a greater sense of confidence that I didn't have when I was 18 to 25.
Yeah, I think it's a circle. I think it absolutely comes from confidence. When you feel good, you bring that playful energy to the world. And I learned to develop confidence by there was a time of faking it till I made it, where I wasn't comfortable, but I had this rule in my head. I'm in the elevator. I have to say the thing right now. That's what I did. And then the interaction went well. And now I'm building these reps of good experiences where I'm seeing that my belief about the world is this place that I just had to make it through is not true. There's fun opportunities everywhere.
I really want to make sure I've got everything on this first impressions point as well. Is there anything else that I need to be aware of? You talked about nonverbal cues. And I mean, there's so much information out there that says nonverbal cues are everything, that then maybe nothing. Do you think they matter? And what are the most important nonverbal cues when it comes to making a good first impression?
One of the ones that I see is prey versus predator. Prey versus predator movement and prey versus predator gesticulation. So if you think of an animal that is a prey animal, like a little bird or a little rabbit, they're very like herky-jerky and they dart. And you think of a predator, you think of a lion or like this like sort of languid, slow movement. Now you don't have to dial it up to sleepy lion level, but one of the things that you see with people that feel very afraid is that they dart. Their eyes are very darty. The hand goes in, the hand goes out, goes back into the pockets very quickly. A bit of slowness to your movements, a bit of calm, especially if you're an anxious person, can help a lot. That doesn't mean you need to lower the energy, but it just means you can slow things down a bit. The other thing that I find is, this is almost pre-first impression. If you're out at a social event, right? You're at a networking event, you're at a bar, I think a lot of people do not realize the intuitive sense that others have for what is going on around them and interactions they're not directly in. And so what will happen, and this is connected to the prey thing but not identical, is that people go out to a networking event and they feel very uncomfortable in their own shoes. And so they're looking at their phone or they're standing by the bar and they're sort of looking around for something or someone to rescue them from their loneliness. And when you can shift that to, I am going to be comfortable where I am. I'm going to find one person. My friend and I would go out to the bar, and the rule that we had was the most interesting place in this entire bar is the space between our noses, right? It doesn't matter. You can say whatever you want. You could be like, I'm terrified here. I'm so scared. I wish I could go home right now. But we have to engage with one another. It was remarkable how much easier it was to start conversation when it was started from a place of we're enjoying one another's company and being playful and having a good time here versus two of us just sort of like standing at the bar going like this.
Looking around for attention or for...
So those are two things. One, prey versus predator movements. And two, are you exuding this vibe of I don't have it, somebody else does? Okay. That people have a unconscious sense that is happening around them. And so making it a conscious point to, I'm going to be cool in my own space. When I interact with someone, I'm not going to make them a stepping stone to another person that I'm more secretly attracted to or has the job that I want. I'm with this person now, and then I can move on. That had a huge, huge impact on the ability. Like, first impressions became easier because of the pre-first impression.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's so much I wanted to dig into there. On the prey versus predator thing, what is it about slow movements that make someone appear to be higher status? Because as you said it, I immediately thought of the lion, and then you were talking about some little like rodent that's kind of like darting around and is anxious that it's about to be eaten. And then I thought of the lion, which is kind of just slowly moving. And then I thought of business contexts where you've got the leader in the room who is kind of sat back in their chair, they're doing things in a more considered way, and maybe the intern who's like dropping the paper and like like hitting the glass accidentally. And it's so interesting because it's so true.
Yeah, it's safety.
Safety.
It's safety. I mean, prey animals are hunted, and that's what you have to be, head on a swivel. If you're a prey animal, you want to move slow, you're dead. It's over. We're animals that are highly attuned to social status. And so when we feel low on the totem pole, we feel less safe. And so one of the ways that we exhibit that is we move more quickly. We have our head on a swivel. We have to be aware of everything that is going on. We can't take our time because we don't, at some level, that mammalian or reptilian brain is telling us that we are unsafe in this environment, or at least less safe than the leader who feels very slow. Another thing that you'll see in terms of status and people who feel is the ability to be seen looking at others. And so one of the things that happens, and this is, I don't mean I can explain how this doesn't contradict the point about focusing on someone else. But when you do turn your attention to someone else, what you'll see the guy at the bar who feels uncomfortable or the intern do is they'll often look with their eyes, but not with the rest of their body. They're doing this sort of stuff because they're afraid to be seen looking. But when you take the person who is more comfortable, they will turn their head and sometimes their chest and their whole body towards others, and they can be caught looking because they're not threatening that other person. They're not harming them. They're not, they're comfortable versus there's a fear of if they see me looking, I'm in trouble, right? And so these are little, I wouldn't say that you need to spend all your time focusing on these hacks, but they work both ways. So it's one thing to notice that, but if you actually consciously go to the body, I think this is one of the fastest ways to influence how you feel, like state in the moment. Instead of doing this and the pray, darting, and the sitting with the hands in the pockets, right? That creates a loop of feeling uncomfortable. So one of the first things that I would do when I was going out to a networking event or a bar or anywhere where I felt uncomfortable was dance floor. Because on the dance floor, I can go, and open up and feel more comfortable through my body because I'm signaling to my body as I expand my arms and dance and wave them that I'm safe, right? And so it's a two-way loop. So if you notice yourself at a networking event or a bar or anywhere where you're feeling uncomfortable and you notice that you're doing this and you can say, okay, I can't go to my brain and make these anxiety go away up here, but I can choose how I hold myself. This is the Jordan Peterson stand up straight, right? There's this body loop feedback that we get. And if you do it by opening up your body language, revealing your vulnerable spots, which are the parts that you have veins, it's your neck, it's your inner elbow, it's your hands, right? Standing like this, a little bit more open. That tends, and I can feel it now. I don't know why I didn't do it at the beginning. I'm a little bit rusty, geez. I feel immediately more grounded, right? I feel immediately more safe, comfortable, and like I can take my time in this interaction rather than having to get the answer right for you, right for the audience, like I might have when I was going like this.
I was going to say before you pointed that out that it's really self-fulfilling. Like the intern who's on edge, who's dropping the paper, is then going to make certain behaviors which are going to kind of reinforce their insecurity and low status, which is then might be pointed out. They might notice it themselves, which makes them feel shit again, which makes them more on edge and twitchy, which is going to increase the probability that they conduct some kind of behavior, and it's this downward spiral where you're like, you feel stuck at the bottom of that. And you're saying that by influencing the things you've described, moving a bit slower, being expansive with your body, you can start to trigger the loop from the other way. You can start to make yourself feel safe. If you feel safe, you're more likely to do the higher value things, which make you feel safe, and you spiral upwards potentially.
Yes. Yeah. This is not an insight unique to me. Tony Robbins, when at his events, I don't know if you've gone, they talk about incantations, where one of the things that he does is prior to going on stage, and he advises people to do this before they have a big moment, is he will like bang his chest and go, hoo, 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 in his Tony Robbins way. And he'll have oftentimes a phrase that is like, I'm here to inspire, or like, I love myself, or I feel wonderful. And I would do this before I went out, right? Before I got in the taxi, before I went anywhere, I would go, I love myself, I love myself, I love myself. And I would just build this physical body energy connection. And it's real. It happens. It makes a dramatic impact on how you show up, because oftentimes you only get 30 seconds, right? It's not a lot of time when you're sitting down in that interview before the person starts to form an opinion about you. So going in with that energy that is like, look, I approve of me, and I'm going to have the body language communication that tells you that that's how I feel. People often pick up on that. You can think of interactions as two people who are storms of beliefs encountering one another. And if my storm of belief is, I'm not really sure about this, I don't really think I deserve this job, and you probably shouldn't talk to me. And your storm of belief is, I don't know a lot about this guy, but let's find out. I'm going to win. And you're going to pick that up, and you're going to, I don't think this guy deserves the job, whatever. But if the belief is, I deserve to be here, I love myself, I can be comfortable, I can be human, and I'll be okay if this doesn't go the way that I'd like, that's what wins out in these. It is the higher conviction belief that often bleeds through in interaction and becomes the one that defines that relationship, at least for that limited time in that context.
This is the most crazy stat you'll ever hear. 93.3% of you that watch this channel frequently haven't yet hit the subscribe button. So if you liked this clip, and if you like what we do here, please can you do me a favor and hit that subscribe button? And in return, I promise you, I will do everything I can from now until forever to make this channel better and better and better.